fucking headache. I need some ibuprofen.
You know what? Fuck ibuprofen.
What? Did you hear the founder just died?
Yeah, good. Fuck him and his communist ass.
Why is he a communist?
Yeah, think about it. Because, like, ibuprofen became, like, such a fucking popular thing, especially in the military, because it's just like, oh, you have broken leg? Take ibuprofen.
Right.
You have mild to moderate severe headache? Take ibuprofen.
That's fair. I still fucking need some. My fucking head hurts.
And I need to take a hot, steamy shit on his grave while fucking milking a radish.
God.
Comrade Profen.
Jeez.
Welcome to the smoke pit.
Hey, I love ibuprofen. I'm not sure why we're shitting on it.
And because people are like, I remember somebody messaged me like in response to something, and they're like, take Motrin or ibuprofen. I'm like, you do realize
Yeah, right, yeah. One and the same.
one and the same, like acetaminophen and Tylenol, same thing, you know, like
Acetaminophen. Isn't that the line in The Mummy that brought the mummy back to life? Acetaminophen.
that's actually the name of the Turkish foreign exchange student that EP Mike lost his virginity to.
Oh, wow.
Acetaminophen.
And how old was he?
16.
Boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted.
Got you good, you fucker.
So we are on episode 19.
I believe so.
Yeah, and 19, it's a great number. 8 higher than the average age of a bride in Afghanistan right now.
Ooh, boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted the whole country.
It's a very roast-heavy episode. I feel.
Yeah, and you know, if you're not marrying girls that are at least 18, correct yourself.
Or you're from the South.
EP Mike, do we have any listeners in Afghanistan that might come?
We have 6 listeners in Afghanistan?
We should be expecting at least 6 jihads.
Well, hello to our listeners.
Hello to our listeners. So, a little fun fact: we usually don't title the episodes until after after we record, and that kind of gives us the ability to just go freely about our conversation and whatever happens. And then in retrospect, when we look back, we're like, I probably shouldn't have said that. Like the Jews are gonna be super mad and edit that out.
Right.
Oh God! Like I promised the FBI I'd stop talking about that.
Yeah.
And then we find something. That's usually how we caption the episode.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because we're funny like that.
Yeah, and so we do get a lot of requests of things we should talk about, and we do our best to kind of throw it in there. But one thing that I do want to talk about is how entitled some people are.
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, there's one guy. He saw a picture of Mike and I. Well, by the way, my name's Dan Sharp, and this is Mike Sensi. If you're a first-time listener,
Pop Smoke Media.
Yeah, for those of you, because we had a lot of support after the Drinking Bros and the Grunt Style thing that we did last week.
Shout
a lot of people, were like, "Hey, I'm only here because Drinking Bros said you were cool." I'm like, "I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'll take that action."
And then I looked at the page. It turns out you're not. And we're like, "All right, bye."
Yeah, bye. And so, he saw a picture of us, and he replied by saying that we look like a gay couple that renovates homes. For gay sex dungeons.
I mean, it sounds like a good-looking couple, to be honest.
But like, I thought he was like kind of like, haha, that's funny. But then as he continued to elaborate, you could tell he was just being like mean.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that's the key to a good roast is like you were saying last episode, like, don't make it about yourself. Don't be like overly mean. You're still supposed to be friends afterwards.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And so like, and this happens a lot, and especially with like any female who's halfway attractive can tell you this. Dudes will fucking DM you and message you and just say like the most outlandish shit and then like expect you to comply.
Right. Well, it's funny because we have a lot of very good-looking female friends in our close circle, and they send us a lot of the screenshots, and it's always like, "Hey, beautiful," and then like a couple days later, not gonna respond. Well, fuck you, bitch. And then like randomly at 3 a.m. the next day, it's like nudes.
Yeah. From N Sensi.
Right. Yeah, I'm very horny at all times.
Yeah. She's like, Mike, we've already had sex.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you message me for?
What do you message? Just come over.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you come to me.
No, you come to me.
And she's like, all right, on my way.
Exactly.
You want a 10-piece or a 20-piece McNugget? And he's like, you should know.
You should know. And then I'd fall asleep.
And then block them.
Block them.
And they're standing outside of your apartment
with
at
cold nuggets.
2 a.m. with 20 cold McNuggets.
Exactly. My neighbors hate me.
Yeah, and then so like I'm like, all right, whatever. I back out of the message, and then like a week later I get another ping, same guy. He's like, hey man, like, you guys should really talk about this on your show. And like my response was like, get fucked so hard.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, you weren't even being like cool about it. Like you want to be a douchebag, but because like you feel entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
Like that's just the way life goes. Like you can't like just be shitty to people and then like expect them to do you favors because you exist. You know?
I mean, yeah, but that sucks because society nowadays has that instant gratification through all these different networks and just the way they're being brought up. And that, like, if you don't respond, then fuck you, but they still expect you to do things for them. The entitlement is so strong nowadays, it's insane.
Yeah. And I get that. And because the definition of anger is unfulfilled expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have your expectations of something and somebody doesn't fulfill them, you're going to be mad.
Of course.
And then you have to ask yourself, am I the one being unreasonable, or did I tell them my expectations that were, again, reasonable, and then knowing these expectations, they decided to not fulfill them in an attempt to disregard me or to hurt my feelings.
People are the worst.
Yeah, and so if the answer is if you just message, a random person on social media hateful things,
mm-hmm.
and then...
Yeah, well, it is funny, too, because back to the instant gratification thing, like, I get a lot of people that send me memes, and I encourage that. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
But it's always like... Sometimes they're funny, and I'll like them, send a little laughing emoji, and usually that's good enough for people. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, you didn't respond to my last meme." I was like, "Well, I mean, I got a lot of memes, and usually they're very weird and like super niche." Like, I think we talked about this on one of the episodes. It was like somebody sent me ones that had to do with like drag racing. It's like drag racers be like, and it's like some car thing, and it made no sense. It didn't pertain to me in the slightest. I'm just like, okay, it's kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah, like I might send it to our friend Patty because she does,
drag
racing and stuff, but like I'm not gonna post it.
Right, exactly.
And if somebody's like, "Oh, post this political meme if you love your country."
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I fucking did 5 goddamn deployments for this country. How about fuck you?
Exactly.
Fucking ROTC piece of shit.
It's always the ROTC kids. I had one message me the other day, and he's an avid listener, so he's hearing this, and I really don't care. He because I did a meme, or I shared a meme about Navy boot camp, the Eric Andre meme. It was pretty funny. And then he's like,
this is exactly what he wanted.
Yeah. And
he made it to the show.
And congratulations, fuckface.
Yeah,
and
we can stop now and just snatch this dream from him, because it could be him. I mean, a little ambiguous right now. It could not be.
Who cares? He can go fuck himself. Or do. I don't care. And he was like,
join the 6 jihads that are currently placed on us.
God, our energy is negative.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was like, I have a friend there at Navy boot camp. Is it that bad? And I was like, no boot camp's really that bad. If you go there, just do what you're told. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I was like, is your friend a bitch? And he's like, you mean female? Yes. And is she weak? No. And I was like, okay, I didn't mean female at all.
He's in love with this girl.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
He immediately fucking became terrified of the fact that now that you are aware of her, you're going to cream pie her.
Yeah, well... I haven't looked at her, so I don't know.
Yet.
We'll see.
I mean, to be honest, do you really make eye contact with most of the girls?
At first, yeah.
At first?
Yeah.
Upon insertion?
Upon insertion. I mean, when you first meet him, you psycho. But then, yes, upon insertion.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, she's pretty tough. And I was like, well, then she'll be fine. It's Navy boot camp. All you have to do is be alive.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, she's pretty tough. She was the commander of the ROTC, blah, blah, and I was like, bro, it does not matter. And he's like, and then he got all upset. But it's so weird. People expect everybody to sing praises when they bring up either like ROTC stuff or like give my memes validation by somebody who makes them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of you suck. Some of you aren't funny. Some of you are not entertaining, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Like if I was as in good a shape as Mike, I would post more shirtless selfies.
I've been told specifically by you to cool it with the selfies.
What? No, I said the opposite.
No, I
said more honey pot.
No, you literally said if you look at your wall, it's just a bunch of selfies.
Yeah, you've pigeonholed yourself. You're in this thing now.
I like to think it's a good combination of content.
No, because all right, we're gonna pull up his Instagram right now. We're gonna go over this. All right. But
all right, I'm gonna hit you with this. Would you rather? I'm looking at would you rather's because I think they're kind of funny. All these kind of suck, but would you rather sleep with someone who talked the entire time or sleep with someone who didn't make a sound at all?
Talk 100%.
Me too. Yeah, these are easy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care like what it's about, like like some sort of like interaction. Because like, have you ever slept with a girl who like didn't make any noise, like didn't? Like,
oh, that's menacing.
Yeah, like you're checking a pulse. Like you're alive down there.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Have I fucked you to death?
I had like that one scene in Forgetting Sarah Marshall where the girl's just like and then she's like, I came. Like, have you ever had one of those? Holy shit, that's menacing. Where there's no noise except for like just very bated breath, like and then nothing, and she's like, oh, that was the best ever. I'm like, what the hell?
All right, so let's look at this.
Okay.
He posted a meme that granted, for his comic ability was fairly mediocre.
To be fair, I was being tattooed at the time, and I was just trying to distract myself from the pain because I am a huge bitch when it comes to tattoos.
Yeah, 523 likes. A picture before that, him wearing an adorable hat, 779.
It's because
likes.
I'm in uniform in that picture.
Nope, I go on. A picture of you and I, 184 likes. The shirtless picture before that, 664 likes.
It's the time of day, let's be real.
The picture of us holding hands, 720? You really are the gay honeypot.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm a big gay... Shout out to my gay followers. I love y'all.
Because I've been referred to as a bear. Apparently.
You would, in the gay community, you would be a bear for sure.
So you holding hands with a bear, and I have my head in your lap because we're at the airport. I was kind of having an anxiety attack, and so I came over, and he's my emotional support burrito.
That's right.
And so 700 and like the comments, like, you guys are gay icons 2019.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Thanks for sharing your value. Still a better love story than Twilight.
Well, for sure.
I could feel the love with a bunch of O's.
Yeah.
All tuckered out, full of Crayola. You know what? Who is this guy? All right, who is this witty fuck? All right, Clark from Unity Tactical. That's his actual fucking bio name. You know what? Good on you, man.
Good on you,
Clark.
Clark.
All right, you got me good.
Nice.
Boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted.
Let's see here. Our boy Eli, that's the cutest shit ever I did see. Then a gay flag with a circle and an X through it.
Yeah, apparently that emoji became popular, like anti-gay stuff. That's weird.
Yeah, just for the fact that you could use it.
Yeah,
but I think that somebody literally went out of their way to post a homophobic emoji in response to our picture.
Because again, people aren't funny or creative; they go for shock value, and it's just like the rudest thing ever.
Yeah, and so like I think it's also kind of funny if any of you guys out there have ever had a really good bromance, it's really threatening to females.
Yeah, it can be for sure.
I can't tell you how many times like some girl has either given me or AJ a hard time for you know how close our friendship is.
Yeah.
And like, with me and you and like, some of the comments that we've gotten on the pictures we posted together, it does make me feel good that one of your most liked pictures is a picture of us holding hands. The shirtless picture before that, 441.
Yeah, well, I wanted to do
you in the Pop Smoke tank top, which thank you so much to everybody who bought one.
Absolutely.
We sold out in like 24 hours.
Yeah,
we have more
awesome.
coming. So don't fret. 612 likes. The picture of me and you at the studio when I have the gun, 339.
Anything you're in doesn't do very well. Yeah.
No, I mean the one of us holding hands.
Well, yeah, from being gay as hell.
That did one. The one with us all in tuxedos lifting you up, that did 616, 670. That was pretty good.
It is funny though, because I notice I mean, as far as likes, I don't get a ton of engagement, but I get a little bit. But as far as like people DMing the photos to each other, I get a lot of those.
That's weird to see in the insights.
That's so weird. Yeah. And if it's usually pictures of like me and you and stuff. Like, who are you DMing this to? Who is this for? Fucking weird. It was all of you. All right. Would you rather shout "I love you, Mom" every time you orgasm, or shout "Long live the Queen" while saluting every time you orgasm? That's so fucking easy.
Yeah, the Queen.
Long live the Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
What is this? Is terrible.
Or what else we got?
I'm gonna look at other ones. Go ahead.
So, yeah, just the idea that people will message you and expect things from you, and so take a good long hard look in the mirror and evaluate your expectations of people and ask yourself, are they reasonable or are they not? Now, I had an expectation of a friend that I thought was very reasonable.
Okay.
I expected him to not have semi-gay erotic nude art in his room, and I was severely disappointed.
Who's this?
My buddy growing up, I won't say his name just in case we forget to beep it.
We will.
But we were all going to his house over. He was homeschooled, and he met us kind of like at the Masons Lodge. We would all go there to play tackle football, and so we became friends. And he's like, "Hey, you guys come over to my house. We're gonna play Halo, and my grandma will make us pizza rolls." And we're like, "Fuck yeah, pizza rolls and Halo!" Like, that's right, yeah. High school dream.
Oh man, it's the wet dream. Yeah.
So we get to his house and we walk in, and if you haven't seen this before, give it a Google. What other search engines are there?
That's pretty much it.
Bing.
I mean, you can Bing, I guess. Is Yahoo still around?
I don't know, but like I'm entirely convinced that Bing is just like one guy in fucking a basement of a corporate office just Googling things for you.
I feel like Ask Jeeves was a real person. Guy named Jeeves in a basement.
Hey, it did well for its time,
It did, absolutely.
And so we get to he lives with his grandma, and we get into his room, and we walk in, I look up, and there is a giant fucking like 6 foot long, like 3 feet tall painting or like picture print or something of Burt Reynolds,
Okay.
a young Burt Reynolds, and he
Ooh.
is naked and hairy, and he's laying on a bearskin rug. And here, I'm gonna pull this up while I
Okay.
explain this.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so he is naked and hairy, and he's his hips are in such a way that his peener is hidden. And so I I look up and I see this, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? See, there's a picture.
Oh man,
He's got like a
delicious,
cigarette in.
delicious.
Like you see, like this, and he's got this big grin. He's naked. He's got his hand over his junk, and he's hairy. He's on a bearskin rug. Look at his face, full mustachioed.
That's the most confident man in the world,
Yeah.
right there.
So look at this picture.
Mhm.
Imagine being like 16 in like early 2000s, walking into your buddy's room and seeing that painting,
Yeah.
big as fuck, over his bed. And so I was like, "What the hell even is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this Bizarro World?" Like, and he's like, "No, that's my grandma. She won't let me take it down." And I was like, "What the fuck is wrong
Because
with
it's
your
bolted
grandma?"
into the wall.
Yeah, and then so his grandma, who we all call Nana, like she comes walking, she was like, "Language," and I was like, "Oh, my bad." Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like, "But Nana, like, what's up with that? Like,
Yeah.
aren't you worried that all your grandson's friends are gonna think that he's gay?" She's like, "No, I ain't worried about it. This is my yum yum room."
Oof. Oof. Oh my god.
So the idea of her all clicking the mouse,
Yeah. Oof. Oh my god.
flicking the bean.
DJ Two Fingers. Wah,
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 wah.
reggaeton.
Oh, that's sort of. Ugh.
Yeah, and she's like, "This is my yum yum room."
That's my
And-
throw up room.
Yeah, so when he moved in, she would not let him take it down.
Oh my
Could you
god.
imagine like being like 16, 15, height of pubescence? You're
Oh.
fucking furiously masturbating. I'm actually legally required to say that once a show. And you look up and like there's naked, hairy Burt Reynolds smiling down at you. You know what I mean? Like,
Ugh. Oof.
I would have turned to drugs too.
I mean, she has good taste, but why would you tell your? Ugh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, and so that was my expectation.
Oof.
Is that if I come over to your home, I don't expect to see a 6 foot long fucking naked Burt Reynolds.
Well, now from now on, I expect nothing less. Oh,
And since
God.
it was like 6 foot long, it's life size.
That's as big as Burt Reynolds was.
yeah,
R.I.P.
like life size naked Burt Reynolds.
Oh, that's horrendous.
But it's kind of funny though, because if we're like in the fucking the Kwanzaa Hut showers in 29 Palms,
Yeah.
and someone's helicoptering their junk, we're all like, haha,
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah,
And then like if you're like EP Mike, and you have like this massive dong, you actually get like a little bit of fucking takeoff.
yeah, exactly. That's how
And
they
then-
clean the showers.
Yeah, and then if you're like, I can imagine most of the RPs in your community, like you can't even get like a little swivel.
From all the RPs penises I've seen, myself included, it's a very small community, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but generally, do you think that like RPs are the type of people that kind of like get into those shenanigans? Or?
So I will say one thing about the RP community.
Yeah.
There's, what did you say this on Drinking Bros or Grunt Style? Like, there's 3 types of DMs you get. It's
oh
Drinking
yeah,
Bros.
Drinking
Yeah.
Bros, yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing with RPs. There's 3 levels. There's the ones who come into the rating just confused as hell, and I fall into that category.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, RP is a roller coaster program
It's
specialist.
a road paver,
No,
rec-
but seriously.
rectal penetrator. No, it's stands for religious program specialist. And
So
it-
why is it an RPS?
Bro, if we do this right now, I'm gonna lose my mind. I get that question every fucking time. I don't know. Believe it or not, did not invent the job.
Really?
I did not.
You act like it.
I-
You're the subject matter expert. You've already broken down in 3 categories.
It's because I'm the best. Anyway, so there's 3 categories. So the ones who kind of come in just who are appealed by like the freedom of it and the bodyguard aspect and all these other little things that kind of like, okay, that appeals to me. That's kind of where I fell in. Then you have the ones who are buds duds, the ones who fail out of special forces programs, and the
Yeah.
ones who come from other jobs because they think it's this hardcore, door kicking job, and it's just not. I just happen to be one who does that. And then you have the third kind who are just religious and like want to work in libraries and set up church and be weird. And if that's your thing, good on you, man. If you join the military to do that, cool. But I hate how we are all lumped into the same job because it's absurd.
What
It really
would
is.
you say is the largest category, though?
Large category is the first, the one I fall into. That's kind of like they got this vague explanation of the job. You only hear about the perks, which is any recruiter's job.
Yeah.
Um,
But would you say, like, on whole, though, like, most are pretty nerdy?
oh, super nerdy, yeah.
Yeah.
A Dungeons and Dragons playing community for sure.
Because I know there's one out in California that's actually, she's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you have your cool ones for sure. It is.
Yeah.
There's only about 700 active and reserve total at all times.
Really?
Yeah.
So that means there's, like, what, 700 chaplain?
There's about 900.
So, like, who's protecting the other 200?
They're at shore commands. See, and that's kind of how you think, because you were a grunt through and through. That's all you know is Marine Corps lore. And so anytime you saw RPs, it was in Marine Corps fashion. But there are ones out there who aren't with, FMF. There's ones who aren't in expeditionary commands. There's ones who are just on ships working the library, and it's the same job.
Or like the base chapel.
Or the base chapel,
just like desperately begging E2s not to get married to the stripper they just met.
Yeah.
I think those are the real heroes.
Yeah.
They're the unsung.
Yeah.
Saving the DoD, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in baw and alimony.
Unsung heroes, all of you. No, but I mean, if you came in to do whatever, I mean, you do you. But it is such a bizarre community. The only thing I dislike about it is that we're all lumped together.
Yeah.
And so like those quotas for advancement and stuff. And so I know back like early Iraq, there were multiple RPs with Bronze Stars of Valor, multiple Purple Hearts, and they got ranked the same as the ones who sat behind a desk all the time and did nothing but admin, and they would rank up faster because they can study for the test more. And I know it's the same in the Corpsman community and a couple other small communities who see combat, but the RP, man, it's...
Yeah, because we had there was a sergeant on my fourth deployment. We were in Sangin, and he was a good person, terrible infantry sergeant.
Yeah.
And we make that distinction very often. They so the reason that he had made sergeant is because when he was he had I think he was like security forces, and so he picked up corporal really quick with the extra points and all that. And then he got there and it was just terrible, and they didn't know what to do with him. So they sent him to the chapel to basically be an RP.
Right.
And so he was a corporal, and the fantastic job at that. He always had the coffee made, the pamphlets folded.
Yeah, good on him. Yeah, fuck it.
He was always on time, clean and sober, enthusiastic. And so for that small niche environment, he excelled.
Yeah.
And so when I forgot what the chaplain was, but he was a higher ranking. So when he did the Christmas tree, and he was not only the reporting senior but the reporting officer.
Yeah.
And so he ranked him literally top tier, like Jesus level,
right.
on the Christmas tree, water walker, promote ahead of peers.
That's awesome.
And so he got a meritorious sergeant out of it because like whoever was like the fucking headquarters company commander that they fell under or whatever, like the MEF or division level, fucking was like, I got this quota, like, oh, this sergeant did really well, like, give it to him. So he shows up to the fucking, the meat eater community, and we just fucking tore this kid apart.
Of course.
He went on one patrol, like the very first patrol where you do like the leader's recon, and the gunner called him an incompetent asshole and banned him from fucking patrolling for the rest of deployment.
Oh my god.
On the leader's recon, we're supposed to be safe, and like, how do you fuck up so bad? Like, you are literally surrounded by pipe hitters,
Right.
Like, all these guys are all fucking team leaders, squad leaders, platoon sergeants, guys who have been in the shit, like, know what the fuck they're doing, Like, I'm not saying like they're Delta or anything.
Sure.
Because most of us have a gut from eating decades worth of trans fats and MREs.
That's right. Yeah, blame it on that.
But at the very hey, I'm working on it.
Yeah, I know. You look good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Despite what some people think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, those people can go fuck themselves.
Yeah. So like, so this guy did such a bad job.
That's crazy.
He got banned by the battalion gunner from ever deploying, not deploying, but patrolling.
Patrolling, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I had there was one kid in Hawaii when I came from 3rd Marines. He was, I want to say 3-3, one of the 3rd Regiment battalions there.
The Lava Dogs.
Well, no, first off, 1-3 was the Lava Dogs.
Oh, yeah?
And you show some goddamn respect.
For the one range they can train on, they are proficient.
Yeah, we kind of own that shit.
Yeah, it's one range.
So we came from one of the battalions. He was an 0311.
Anyways.
And anyway, I'm just going to get past that. Shout out 1-3. Love you guys. Yeah, he came from one of the battalions, 0311, and something happened where they put him on chapel duty on K-Bay, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, kind of what you're talking about. And he did not excel. He was just the turd that the chaplains used. And he was like front desk, too. So when you walked in, it's chapel. You expect, maybe not to be greeted, but like to be helped of some kind. And so I walk in, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, because I went to go see one of my buddy RPs. I was like, is so-and-so here? And he's like, nah. I was like, okay, cool. Then we kind of got to talking and stuff. And then he was like, oh, you're with the battalion? I was like, yeah, I'm the 1-3 RP. He's like, yeah, I was 3-3, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, now I'm here with all the pogues. And I was like, haha, yeah, I know what you mean. And he's like, well, you wouldn't know. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you wouldn't know that, the what it's like to do this. And I was like, actually, an RP would. That's bizarre you would say that.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it, but I would absolutely know what you're talking about. He's like, well, I was, a rifleman, and now I'm here. And I was like, I'm also trained as a rifleman. That's bizarre.
Yeah, we both went to the school of infantry.
And he's like,
did you go to a different school of infantry that I went through?
And he's like, well, he was so confused and so baffled. And then I was like, yeah.
Did you show him your tattoos?
I didn't have my sleeve done yet, so I couldn't shit on him. And
none of the chest tattoos?
Yeah, I had the chest. Well, am I going to take my shirt off? Like,
yeah, that's what I would fully expect knowing you as a human being.
That's true. And I was.
Don't you have like one of those like silhouettes of like a kneeling dude praying next to like a battlefield cross, the rifle with the Kevlar?
That is my tramp stamp. Yeah.
Legitimately, do you have one of those?
No, I don't. No.
Oh, what's right here then?
It's a rifle.
So I was close.
It's just it is just a random rifle with just like
Okay. Yeah. And see, now you just need a praying guy next to it, taking a knee for the fallen brothers.
There's space. There's space.
Yeah, there's space.
So he was just baffled, taken back, and I was like, yeah. And then he thought like, oh, you went through MCT. He's like, you're still. And then he got mad at me. He's like, you're still a pogue. And granted, I already had a car. Like I'd already done combat. Like I'm not sure where he was going with any of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I was a Geiger Tiger. I went through fucking Camp Geiger, SOI, and he's like, no, you went through MCT. I was like, bitch, listen to me.
Yeah.
I did the same course you did. I hold the same NOS. Granted, I'm an infantry RP, so I'm doing RP things. But I hold the same job qualifications you do, bro. And guess what? Guess who's sitting behind a desk right now? Now give me some fucking coffee. And he was just like taken aback. He's like, I don't know what to do. It's like, yeah, so quit acting hard, even though you're fucking 03 dum-dum.
Yeah, speaking of which, as an RP, have you ever had to like life out a Marine?
When I first came in,
because I have lifed out almost as many people as you have notches on your belt.
Yeah. I would say when I first came in, I was super moto.
7,827.
Jesus Christ.
No, I was just saying the number of notches you have on your belt.
Oh, okay. I was about to say that seems low, but embellished. No, when I first came in, I was super moto. I used to do this thing where every Marine that came up and said, hey, what's going on, Doc? Because some of them genuinely don't know. And then I'd be like, what's going on, soldier? And he'd be like, what the fuck? And I'd be like, I'm a fucking RP. He's like, I don't know what that is, but now I'm pissed.
I want to fight you.
Yeah, I want to beat up an RP. So I used to think that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But lifing people out, yeah, when I was super moto, I would do that. But the more...
you got an example? Or has the alcohol taken this?
I mean, the alcohol's taken its toll for sure. Not off the top of my head, no. Nothing story worthy for sure.
So whenever I used to life people out, there's different phases that I went through.
Okay.
Yeah, because as a boot, you don't life anybody out.
No.
Like I beat up the corpsman for talking shit to my platoon, my team leader.
Yeah.
Like I literally dove through a window at Mount Town, tackled him, put him in a rear naked choke, and started heel stomping his testicles while I was choking him out. Because, I believe in overwhelming violence of action.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like when you initiate an ambush.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why can I just choke you? I can also attack your ball sack.
Close with and destroy that taint.
Just kick him in the ding-ding.
I have no joke for that. Go ahead.
And then kick him in the ding-ding should be a shirt.
Yeah. Ooh.
I like that. Or at least a sticker.
All right. Fair enough.
Kick him in the ding-ding.
Everybody write this down.
Yep. all 6 of you listening.
That's right. We appreciate it.
Nope, we just hit 55 countries and our 50,000th download.
Yeah, over 50,000 downloads. Yeah,
over 50,000 people downloading the podcast.
First off, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Second off, why?
But why though?
Why though? Man.
And so I became a team leader and I was just fucking mean because I had remembered specific instances where if my team leaders had been more aggressive, maybe we would have had better results in certain combat scenarios. Of course. I'm not putting anybody's death on anyone's feet or anything.
Right.
But there's definitely times where aggression can be a good thing and it can also be a bad thing. But I didn't learn that aggression could be a bad thing until I matured a little bit as a leader.
Yeah.
So when I first became a team leader, I was a fucking fire breather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like personal attacks. I would like to figure out what somebody's insecurity was and then insult that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
But then as I got older and I got a little wiser, you kind of realize that you have a spectrum of leadership. You have the mentor and you have the dictator. And mentor is more like what I saw in some of the softer jobs that I've seen around the military.
Sure.
Where people it's almost like a football coach. You have the people who try to appeal to your sensibility and your morality and inspire you and stuff like that. Then you have the people who say get the shit done or I'm going to shit down your throat.
Of course.
So I was more shit down your throat, like put hands on motherfuckers. But then as I got older, I realized I was like, I probably shouldn't ever yell at anybody unless I am completely willing to fight them over what happened.
I agree. I can agree with that. Yeah.
Because you have people who are like 5'0" and they're hiding behind their ranks and they're yelling at some some dude who's twice their size who could easily fucking crush them if it wasn't for the rank barrier. So if you're one of those leaders, correct yourself.
good.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, you also have to realize, like, the military, it teaches you to overreact to all these small fires, and the entire military existence is stomping out small fires.
Mm-hmm.
Something pops up, like, oh, we gotta get this roster done. It's the most important thing in the fucking world. But then when the roster's done, you never think about it again.
Yep.
Anything that doesn't affect you in 6 months really shouldn't be that big of a deal, realistically. So,
yeah,
as this little fire breather team leader, everything was a huge transgression. Everything, you know, was just like, you know, like a stain on their family's honor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like showing up without a shave or being late or your chevron's chipped or whatever. Like, you know, like fucking Marines didn't die on Iwo Jima, so that way you could disrespect the goddamn uniform that they fucking wear.
I will say, the first time I got yelled at by a junior NCO, some corporal who didn't know I was an RP, I had my blouse just on the back of my chair. It was in my barracks room. They were coming through for field day, and they didn't know who lived in the room. They just kind of came in.
Yeah.
And had my blouse in the back of the chair. It wasn't hung up super nice. It was just kind of flung on it. He's like, oh, good, the uniform my brothers died in, hang out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why don't you calm the fuck down? He's like, who the fuck are you? I was like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
So
we started helicoptering dicks at each
other.
That's
right. Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a dick measuring contest.
It absolutely
you know?
is, yeah. It absolutely is. And then, because then I put on the blouse, and I was still an E1 at the time. And so I just had the RP shield and no rank.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And then he was like looking. He's like, Doc, you dropped your. And I was like, I'm an RP. And he's like, and I was like, yes.
The face he just made, the faces he made were adorable.
The confusion.
Yeah, he was super aroused at this point. If that's what he saw.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and so like, you know, that I started off as that, and then as I got older, you know, like you appeal a little bit more. Like I remember, like I'd come in, and there'd be a boot on the quarter deck, a quarter deck, and like. He'd be doing something stupid or whatever. Yeah. And I'd be like, you know, I would try to like inspire him to be better. Right. You know what I mean? I'd be like, you know, there's a kid out there right now who, you know, probably has something that beyond his control. Cerebral palsy, really bad asthma, and he wants nothing more in this world than to wear the uniform you have on now. Yeah, yeah. Everything he's ever wanted was taken from him. And you sit here with your fully functioning body, all the gifts that God gave you. God. And you choose to disrespect everything that this kid wants to believe in. There's a young man that all he wanted to do was be a United States Marine, but leukemia cut that short. And I remember putting an Eagle Globe and Anchor in his hand at the VFW.
Good God.
And the Commandant of the Marine Corps signed the certificate that we got to make him an honor Marine, and he died 2 weeks later. But yet you sit here living his dream, and you don't have the fucking respect for him or for yourself to be able to do the one thing you're being paid to do, the one thing you swore you would do, your duty, your job. And so by the end of it, this fucking kid is like in tears.
Of course, yeah, I'm about to be in tears, dickhead.
And so like, and that was like kind of the running joke, like anytime, like, because you know, like some fucking lieutenant or officer would come in and be like, oh, you fucking do your job of fucking duty, oh, you fucking JP, you, how about that? Yeah, you know, and then like he comes the next day, he's still doing the same thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah,
and be like, Sergeant Sharp, and I go out there and I give him some fucking like
some monologue.
Yeah, a fucking super villain monologue.
Yeah, exactly. You got me monologuing.
Yeah, and you know something to that effect. You know, like if for an example, like you have kids who are being timid in training, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, most like, we've said this before. Most people who join the Marine Corps are undersized. Mm-hmm. They're all in Napoleon syndrome.
I was just about to say Napoleon syndrome.
Yeah, like you know, especially with the females, like, oh, you can't do this, so I'm going to do it anyways. Yeah, you know? Or you know, kids who were too small for the football team, like I'm going to go join the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm.
Where nobody's too small.
Nobody's too small. A bunch of 5'2" Mexicans
That's
carrying
right.
machine guns.
Yeah, just yelling at each other.
Why the fucking Obsidians and the Titans sit in the fucking water dog shop, you know?
Just taking protein.
Just fucking snorting pre-workout off of each other's holler dabs. Fucking don't ever say I didn't do nothing for you, Terminal Lance.
There you go, right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he listens.
Yeah. No, he's never responded to any of my DMs.
Did you read the book I gave you?
Did you actually give it to me?
Yeah.
Fuck, I gotta find that.
If you lost that book,
I'll just buy you another one. Oh my God. We're adults. We have money. Unless somebody signed it. In that case, nobody signed it. Yeah. The signature. Just tell me what it looks like.
I want you to sign it.
It decreased the value.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, you know, they're being timid, and I'm just like, you know, I pull them aside. I'm like, you realize that there are men who have had to fight their entire life that are 10 times harder than you or anyone you know, and they're literally shaking in their boots at the thought that you, a United States Marine, an infantry Marine, will come kick down their door and end their life. Yet you sit here like a timid coward and just, you know, like go off on them like that.
Just ruin their day.
Yeah, I'm aiming to ruin their life.
Well,
like,
yeah, but it's mainly their day because you have to have a fucking quick memory to be in the Marines.
Yeah, that's true. And then at the end of the day, you take off the blouse, you fucking scratch where your boot bands are.
Yeah. Oh my
god. You jerk off, and you're like, and they're like, "Fuck, Sergeant Sharp."
Yeah, exactly.
Which I always appreciate though, because like I'd be skulking around the barracks on occasion, you know, like making sure that there are no hookers being murdered.
Right.
Or if I'm on duty, or if I'm there, doing a counseling session or helping, Marines like, hey, can you help me set up with my gear, Sergeant? I'm like, yeah, I'll show you how I have mine set up or whatever.
Yeah.
Because being a leader, you have to forfeit a lot of your free time.
Of course.
And so I'd be there, and like I'd be coming around the duty hut and be like, yeah, man, fucking Sergeant Sharp, man, he's a fucking asshole, man. Like, yeah, I get it. He's just trying to get us ready for fucking combat. And I'm like, he called me Sergeant Sharp when I went around.
They respect you.
Yeah, and I remember one time, like, somebody was just like, yeah, fucking Sharp, that piece of shit. And I came around, Sharp! Sharp! Which is funny, because in the Army, it's like, that's an acronym for, like, sexual harassment.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
That's what, when I did the Florida Man meme, when they saw my last name was Sharp, a lot of the Army guys laughed twice as hard because they thought it was a play at the acronym.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but and I'm sure plenty of people talk shit about me behind my back.
I do constantly.
Yeah, he really does. And to my face,
and to mainly to your face.
Yeah, but the thing is he was so drunk he didn't realize it was me.
Yeah. If you put on a wig, I'll talk whatever.
But the idea that like you go from being the dictator to the mentor.
Right.
And I think that's something that a lot of leaders can learn from, because you get the difference between like problematic and symptomatic. You have like if you're sick, you have a runny nose, and you could take medicine for runny nose, but if you don't know what's causing the runny nose and you're not treating that, it's just going to continue to fester.
Yep.
And so I think that's what the Marine Corps does a really bad job of, is they treat the result of the problem versus the cause of the problem. Somebody gets a DUI and it's like, oh, well, now the entire battalion is on lockdown or whatever.
I love group punishment.
Yeah, versus like, okay, well, why did this individual get a DUI?
Right.
Well, he was, fucking denied the ability to go to his custody hearing for his kid because we had a field op that day. Where he fucking sat around and did a couple buddy rushes, and now he lost custody of his fucking kid.
Right.
And so now that's why he's fucking depressed, and so it's a leadership failure.
Yeah, because you're police calling cigarette buds.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, you're still accountable for your actions, and I'll say that again for the people in the back. Doesn't matter if you're upset, doesn't matter if you're stressed or tired or depressed or whatever, you are still accountable for your actions. If you punch a hole in the wall when you're mad, that's still your fault.
That hole's still there.
Yeah, if you fucking, if you get in a car and you drive drunk, that is still your responsibility. Unless you're a female in the military and apparently you have no ability to control over anything.
Exactly.
If you've had 2 sips of alcohol.
Well, right, yeah, because then they lose their minds.
Yeah. But me as a male, if I've had alcohol, apparently I can consent.
Absolutely.
Or is that not how equality works?
I'm pretty sure that is the definition of equality.
Before we go any further down that rabbit hole.
Oof. We have friends that want to come on and promote that. So we can't do that.
But yeah, point being though is that you are in control of your actions. So
Absolutely.
Yes, this individual was in the wrong for getting a DUI. However, it was a leadership failure that prevented him from being able to better his life. And the Marine Corps in general, and especially, and I don't know how it is in other branches, but from my experience, they're so fucking concerned with the short-sighted accomplishment of, like, at the end of the day, meaningless tasks.
Yeah. That
they prohibit people from personal development, going to college, doing special courses. Like, oh, no, you can't go to fucking this special course, like a Pathfinder or Combat Hunter or whatever. Oh, because we need you here to fucking supervise the fucking inspection.
I think a lot of young leaders especially, they just don't take the time to know their personnel. Yeah. They take the time to know their job, but that's it. So, like, behind the uniform, as we all know, there's people. So if, like, so-and-so's, good at one thing and not good at another, a lot of young leaders just push them into things because, like, they're not good at it, they'll get better. It's like, it's not a good way to handle that.
Yeah, we said this before the podcast episode started when we were doing our own production meeting. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll spend its entire life thinking it is incompetent, more or less, paraphrase. Yeah, but, Einstein said that. Yeah. And so, he said that everybody is genius at something. Almost like that Rick and Morty episode where fucking Jerry fucking said that Pluto was a planet and almost caused, like, the genocide of a people.
What is like, the next season?
Right?
God.
Seriously.
Rick and Morty, let's go.
Let's go. And so he was just like, yeah, Rick may be the smartest man in the universe, but you're my dad. You're a genius at that.
Yeah.
And then, much like EP Mike, Jerry tried to add to that, and Morty was like, "Nope, just
don't do it.
Just stop. Stop. You're a genius at being my dad, and that's that. Good night, bye." So that being said, like, yeah, granted, iron sharpens iron or whatever fucking bullshit some company's gonna put on a T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so yeah, you can, but everybody has a skill cap at some point in time.
Yeah.
And one of the leadership traits that they drill into the heads of officers is employ your Marines in accordance with their capabilities.
Yeah.
So if
a lot of people fail to do that still. But.
Yeah. So if X Marine is good at X tasks, have X Marine do that task. However, pause for effect. The prettiest whore gets fucked the most.
It's true.
So if you are good at something, the military will continue to make you do it, so that way it gets done. Because they don't care about your fucking personal health or well-being. All they care is that that one mission gets accomplished, so that way they don't get yelled at, and then the next mission comes down the pipe. You get rode hard and put away wet.
Absolutely.
So the best way to get out of a duty is to show utter incompetence in it.
That's terrible advice.
It's true, though.
It is true, but that's terrible advice.
I mean,
we have a lot of young listeners.
But that to be said, though, if you have a fucking shithead team leader or a shithead section leader that is always making you do something fucking terrible and dumb,
right?
Fuck it up once.
Yeah.
And he'll give it to somebody else.
It's true.
Now, granted, don't do that in combat.
No.
Otherwise, I will literally come skull fuck you. But yeah, so combat comb over is, speaking of being a shitbag and being belligerent, if you're one of those dudes who likes to push the limit and grow your hair out to the maximum length, give combat comb over a try. So I'm gonna crack this open. We got this scent here called I Marry a Stripper, so I'm gonna smell that. Oh wow, that definitely has some, I think, cinnamon or some sort of spice to it. Funny enough, the first time I smelled this, I was like, I can really smell the cigarettes. But EP Mike had just finished smoking, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. No, this actually smells good. All right, and the next one is hookers and cocaine. So let me grab that one. And although I have never done cocaine, if I had, I would imagine that's what it smells like. And it smells delightful. So check out combatcomover.com. Check out their Instagram and their social media. Let them know that Pop Smoke sent you. And this is how we keep the lights on. So we try to hide that in there so you guys can't skip past it. And we do appreciate you supporting us and all the brands and stuff that support us. Like recently we had Black Rifle Coffee, Crooked Sales, Strike Force. Been in talks with some other companies, and it's really just a good community. As I continue to tap dance while Mike is over there fucking taking the most unprofessional shit. I can hear him snickering. So while he's doing that, I'm going to pull up another note. Like, the episode's only like an hour long. Really, dude? Here we go. I've been wanted to talk about this for a little bit. Calling cadences in the military. When you're running and, you have the songs that you sing that, help keep the whole unit in step, and it's kind of fun and motivating. I remember there was a distinct time, sometime in, I think, like 2010. We're in Quantico. I was an instructor at the basic school, training officers and warrant officers in combat tactics and such. And they came down the pipeline and they're like, no more profanity or no more sexual references in any of the running cadences. The pogues and the civilians are offended. And especially because we have infantry officer course up there. That's like one of the hardest courses in the military. Very low, very, very low passing rate. And you have to imagine, like, the people like who are going through these, like, officers, their PT scores are literally fucking 20 to 30 points higher than the average enlisted guy on average. And then these are the ones who are selected for that. And then you have a very difficult qualification and court, or like a thing that you do, like a indoc, to try out for it. And a lot of people fail that. And so, like, these guys are already PT studs, and I can tell you why. Like, all we did was fucking run O course and E course, endurance course and obstacle course. And so, like, these guys are fucking studs. Like, it's hard to keep up with them, especially as a busted old NCO. And so, we're fucking singing cadences about killing babies and, fucking banging whores and shit like that. And they come down the pipeline and they're like, no, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, so, like, what the fuck are we supposed to sing about? And they're like, sing about motivation, sing about dedication, esprit de corps. And I was like, have you ever tried to rhyme esprit de corps with anything? Like, how does that fucking work out? Like, yeah, up in the morning with my esprit de corps, after PT, gonna get some cream corn. Like, what the fuck do you expect from me? And so then we had to have a whole ass fucking PME class about fucking PC fucking safe cadences that you could call. And it's just kind of funny because like in the infantry, especially out in the fucking victory units, like cadence is all about like kill, babies kill, babies kill, babies kill. But then, like, as you've heard me say earlier, like, I appalled at the idea of killing babies, but it's funny to say in cadences for some reason, which kind of, like, you know, just goes to show that, like, not everything is as serious as some people take it. Like, if, you know, the civilian media heard us talking about, like, oh, they train their fucking Marines to sing about killing babies, and then, like, God forbid, like, you actually have a civilian casualty in a firefight, the media's gonna be like, see, like, they planned on doing this. You're like, no, it was just an unfortunate circumstance. Wrong place, wrong time, and at the end of the day, blame the bad guys. Like, you know, they are the ones who fucking generally opened up on us. Very few occasions did we ever initiate ambushes or initiate fucking any sort of armed engagement. It's usually just being proactive. Like, you imagine your entire job is just to fucking walk around Ramadi or Fallujah until you get shot at, try not to die, and then in turn try to kill them. That's a that's a shitty way to be. Because I got you the spicy buffalo.
You did. Well, it's not even so much the spice, because anybody knows me, I love spicy stuff. It's just the quantity of it. I ate so many nuggets with the spicy sauce.
Many nuggets.
Oh, I'm like out of breath.
EP, how we doing on time?
48 minutes.
48 minutes. Let's go ahead and wrap this up.
As soon as we wrap this up, I'm going right back to the toilet to take a shit.
Round two.
Round two, exactly. I will finish him. What would you like to wrap it up with?
I think maybe if there are any businesses out there that are interested in sponsorship,
sure,
you reach out to us. If you're anywhere on the East Coast and you have something of value to add, you could possibly do like a meetup or something.
Yeah. Especially if you're a vet or active duty or any military ties, or even not, just have something to fucking say. Hit us up. We'll have you on. We don't care.
Meat shield for our jihads that are coming for us.
That's right. Either way, would you rather rip every one of your toenails off your toes one by one, or rip every one of your teeth out of your mouth one by one?
I would have to say toenails. Because I've had the ingrown toenail surgery a few times, so I'm like a little bit more acquainted with that type of pain.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'd be like real hard to tell if you're missing toenails, but if you're missing teeth, everybody will know.
So you're thinking long-term effects.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking immediate pain effects. I would say for me, it'd probably be teeth. And here's why. Toes, you can see it happening. And if I see it happening, it feels like it hurts worse, right?
No, I think it's the opposite. Like, whenever I get a shot, I want to stare right at it.
No, I'm the opposite. I'm exactly like when I get tattoos, I'm a huge bitch when I get them. So I don't like to look at them.
No, for me, it's the opposite. You
know? I look away.
If I'm putting it in a girl's butt, like I get like several mirrors so she can watch.
If I'm putting it in a girl's vagina, I don't even look. I'm like Ray Charles.
Putting it in a girl's hand, he doesn't even look. Which he does at the movie theaters.
That's right.
That's why we can no longer go to Cinema Cafe. Thank you, Mike.
She said she was 18.
That's the dark humor. He doesn't really mean that.
That didn't happen. I've never been to Cinema Cafe.
Oh, that's what you want to say doesn't happen? That's what you're...
That's what I'm guilty about.
That's what you're championing?
That's right.
Oh, my God. So if you have any advice for any young RPs out there listening...
Oh, my God, don't. Well, I don't think any RP... If you're an RP and you listen to this show, shoot me a DM, because I don't think any... Well... I don't think any RPs listen to the show.
Well, if you're in a unit that has an RP, you can snatch them up by the fucking collar.
Right. No shit. You know what? And I'm gonna say this to all the young Marines out there.
Yeah, because and I didn't mean to cut you off or anything.
Yeah.
But like most RPs end up dead in a ditch somewhere.
That's true. It is true.
And so you actually have one that's doing something good with his life, and y'all don't want to support him. Fuck y'all.
It's not even that. It's
no. You don't take this away. All right. No, fuck the RP community. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Let me say that. That's what I'm gonna say. No, I will say.
I'll be your voice
to all the young Marine leaders out there who listen to this and say my RP's a shitbag. I'm speaking directly for the RPs because docs are a totally different entity. They get a lot more training and they get a lot more ingrained. If your RP's a shitbag, what are you doing to prevent that? A lot of the young RPs that I know that are terrible is because a lot of the young leaders, both sailors and Marines, don't take the time to groom them because they don't know what to do with them. Do whatever you want with them. It is the most insane rate and has the most freedom and has the most potential for that sailor to shine, but people don't fucking jump on the opportunity. The reason I was so good with the Marine Corps when I served with them is because I had those young leaders approach me, and I had them be like, well, granted, it was the S1 usually, that was like, hey, come PT with us in the morning. You know what I mean? But something had to happen to get me out of my comfort zone and actually truly integrate with the Marines.
Yeah, because you ended up becoming like a martial arts instructor, right?
I was a black belt MAI. I was the only one to graduate from that schoolhouse, only RP to graduate from that schoolhouse. And they actually sent, so what's funny about that is they sent us there kind of as a goof to the chief that was over me and another RP who had a black belt in McMap. And they were kind of like, it'd be funny if we ran these guys through the ringer. And the other RP that went with me failed the first day because you have to do a PFT, CFT, and fight each other. Like it's a grueling course. It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
And then I went through and I became an instructor. And the sergeant major, when we were doing the graduation, he like shook my hand. He's like RP, and I was like, yes, sergeant major. And he whispered while he's handing me my tab. He's like, God, that's a lucky fucking chaplain. I was like, yeah man.
You're fucking Judy chop, fucking terrorist.
Yeah, man. That's right. So I spent my time with the Marine Corps teaching hand-to-hand combatives and fucking leaving the wire and doing what I can to kill the enemy.
Fucking lucky. You got fucking infantry Marines out there who don't even get that shit.
I know. I know. I had a good time with them, man.
Yeah, and so have you ever thought about lat moving or cross-servicing and joining the Marine Corps?
Have I ever thought about it?
Yeah.
When I was younger.
You're insane. Sure. Don't do that. That's a horrible idea.
I will say when I was younger I did, only because of those young Marines that took me aside and mentored me and helped me ingrain, because if I had a nickel for every time somebody was yelling at their boot when I was walking by and said, RP's a better Marine than you are, I have a lot of nickels.
That's got to be like the biggest fucking... Like, how many times did you masturbate to that?
A lot, all the time.
Like immediately, like, I'll be in my bunk.
Yeah, all the time. No, I loved being used as the example in that sense.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And yeah, so we don't want to isolate our Air Force and Coast Guard listeners.
No, it's just our experience. Yeah,
because like at the end of the day, like you may have your branch and your job, and you realize this is your slice of the pie, and you may think that like this is what the military experience is, but I thoroughly encourage you to reach out to other people and see what they have to offer.
Absolutely.
Because the worst thing that happens is you learn something.
I like it.
Good or bad. If they have something good to say, run with it. If they have something bad to say, promise yourself you'll never be like that.
Yeah, I like it.
That's all we have for today, folks.
Goodbye.